Hey, welcome back. This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. Welcome back to another segment of talking trash about dating and relationships. Today we're going to talk about how to get a guy interested in you, is he cheating you, and Asia Argento wants to harass you. Oh, and stick around to the end because this Asia Argento thing is sick. You got to hear it. But first up, do you know how to get guys interested in you? You want to see a ridiculous way? Watch this. Now, of course, this is definitely not the way to go when it comes to impressing a guy, and yet amazingly, you might think that it is based on the number of young ladies that have a wee bit too much to drink on their party nights. So yeah, as far as dates are concerned, do yourself and everybody else a favor and keep your alcohol intake down. In fact, I only recommend one drink for the night just to warm you up and loosen you up a wee bit. And you know, while we're on the topic, here are a few of the other things you should not do if you want to get a guy to like you. Let's call them first date mistakes. Number one, don't get drunk. Enough said there. Number two, don't talk about your ex or your last relationship. It's funny, nearly every person I've ever talked to understands implicitly that you just don't talk about your past, but they can't help but dredge up the sludge on their ex, and they still do it on the date. It's like there's a weird compulsion that overcomes us to reflect on failed relationships or just talking trash about them. So don't do that. Number three, not asking questions. Huge mistake. Questions count, mostly because you need to know this guy better if you're going to keep seeing him and possibly start sleeping with him. All right? And if you want to get to understand him at all, you got to ask questions. Number four, of course, don't check your phone. Phone addiction is a real thing, and it only seems to be increasing in frequency every day. If you're checking your phone on a date with this guy, he's going to assume you're either bored or distracted or just plain frickin' rude. Okay, before I go on, I got to ask you a question. Is he cheating on you? Is the guy you're with stepping out on you? Is he getting some on the side? Is he being a little unfaithful? Is he bumping uglies with his mistress? You know, humans are really funny about cheating. It's usually pretty black and white about it. But let me ask you again, is it possible that he's cheating on you? Well, sure, it's always possible, but is it also likely? Let me tell you why a man cheats. This is exactly why most men out there cheat or would cheat on you. A man cheats because, number one, he has not had a lot of sexual attraction with women. Women don't typically find him sexually desirable. Number two, he's not had a lot of sexual partners, i.e. he's sexually inexperienced, relatively speaking. And number three, he finds a woman who will sleep with him. Now, this is pretty much the pattern for 90% of the guys that I've talked to and coached and analyzed. They were kind of wussy, they weren't very good with women, then along comes, let's call it an attractive woman who shows interest. Ms. Opportunity. Neither sex is immune to this kind of behavior, but it's important for you to know this so that you know what kind of guy is likely to cheat. Oh, and just a little bit of advice, little tidbit here that you might find hard to believe, but has actually been proven in blind studies, not the ones you see on CNN. Shh. Men and women cheat in about the same numbers. Men just lie up, and women lie downwards. They lower their number. You know what I mean. All right, now the one you've been waiting for. Asia Argento has been accused of sexual harassment. Will the scandals never cease? Longtime friend of Rose McGowan, a key figure in the Me Too movement, Asia Argento has been accused of sexual harassment.
We want to move now to actress Asia Argento, one of the first women to accuse Harvey Weinstein of sexual assault. Well, she is under fire this morning. A new report claims that she paid off her own accuser, a young actor who says she sexually assaulted him when he was only 17 years old. And ABC's Lindsay Davis is here with more. Lindsay, this is just a shocking development.
Now, you might be aware of Asia being the former girlfriend of recently deceased celebrity Anthony Bourdain. Asia has allegedly slept with underage women, including Rain Dove, that's his name. I mean, are you kidding me? That's the best name he could come up with, as well as Jimmy Bennett. Now, I gotta ask you, what do you think? Can men be sexually harassed? I know there's a ton of women out there who would scoff at that and say that's ridiculous. Men can't be the victims of sexual harassment. After all, men are the demand, women are the supply. Well, if he was older, this Rain Dove, would that make a difference? I mean, if he was legal age, would that make one bit of difference to this story of sexual harassment? I don't know. I actually found it kind of amazing that the age of consent in California is 18. By comparison, about half the nation has an age of consent at 16. Kind of interesting. But anyway, according to the article in the New York Times, the Times reported that Ms. Argento had arranged to pay Mr. Bennett $380,000 after he accused her of sexually assaulting him before he had reached the age of consent in California, which sounds like some pretty serious stuff. Now, of course, the big deal here is the hypocrisy. After all, Asia Argento is part of the movement that was also responsible for bringing Harvey Weinstein's misconduct to light. So let me ask you, what do you think about this controversy that's trending now? Should Asia do anything publicly? Should she apologize? Is this just a backlash against the Me Too movement? Is it different when a man claims sexual harassment? Give me your comments below. Hey, as always, this channel lives and thrives on you. So number one, make sure you like this video. Number two, of course, subscribe so you keep getting the good stuff every week. And number three, leave me those polite questions and comments below. I love to read them, and it tells me what to do next. And of course, don't forget to come back next week for more trash talk about relationships and dating. I'll be talking again soon. This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. As always, trash them if you got them.